This morning, for the first time, we're hearing from writer E. Jean Carroll on camera since a jury ordered former President Donald Trump to pay her over $83 million for defaming her as a liar. Here's some of what Carroll said about Trump's conduct in the courtroom.
The courtroom was not a courtroom to him. It was a campaign stop. That was clear. So we had two different objectives. Ours was to win a case. His was to win voters.
Joining us now, NBC News correspondent Garrett Haake and Catherine Christian, a former assistant district attorney at the Manhattan DA's office. She is also an MSNBC legal analyst. So, Garrett, what's next for Trump's legal team now that the former president has pledged to appeal?
Well, they're in a little bit of wait-and-see mode on a couple of other cases this week, Jose. They could get a ruling, in the New York civil fraud case this week, or in the case that his attorneys argued here in D.C. a couple of weeks ago on presidential immunity. That's probably the one that has the most of Donald Trump's attention. He's been talking about it for weeks on the campaign trail and using his social media accounts, arguing that a president has total immunity for any act committed while in office. He clearly believes that a favorable ruling in that case could protect him from either of the big federal investigations into him over the next couple of weeks. Those arguments are over. The briefs are filed. There's not much left for his attorneys to do in that case than sit and wait for a decision.
So, Catherine, how would an appeal impact Carroll's ability to get some or all of those funds?
Well, she's not going to be getting a check for $83.3 million immediately because he has a right to exhaust his appeals. He has to put up the $83.3 million either in escrow or he has to give a 20% bond if he's going to do an appeal. So the money will be there waiting for her, but she will not get it immediately.
And Trump has also called on federal courts to intervene in his other New York civil case, Catherine, which threatens Trump's business empire in New York. A verdict from the judge there is expected at any point there. What are you watching for? I
don't like to read tea leaves, but we can expect that the verdict from the judge on his civil fraud trial will not be favorable to Donald Trump. And remember, his sons are also defendants and two members of the Trump organization also defendants. So we can expect that there will be, it's called disgorgement, also known as a fine, but will it be $370 million? It might be that close. And will he be permanently barred from conducting business in New York? That is one of the reliefs that the AG has asked for. So I expect that the verdict from the judge this week, he said Wednesday, will not be favorable to Donald Trump.
And Garrett, meanwhile, Trump's busy legal calendar is just getting started. The Supreme Court's going to be hearing arguments next week on whether Trump should be allowed on the primary ballot in Colorado. What's the level of concern inside the Trump campaign about all of these?
Well, look, I think there's two different issues here, Jose. Politically speaking, the level of concern is low. His campaign believes, ironically, as E. Jean Carroll pointed out in that interview, that he can use these cases to his advantage politically, arguing that he's being unfairly targeted by kind of the Biden justice system or a broad kind of Democratic conspiracy of election interference. It has worked for him so far in the primary. Legally speaking, though, that's another matter. He's got to protect his ability to continue to make money, keep the money he has, and keep his ballot access. That makes that Supreme Court hearing particularly important because while it deals with just Colorado on the front end, there are still several other cases outstanding in other states, including swing states, that could limit Donald Trump's ballot access there. If the Supreme Court were to rule against him, that could have major electoral impacts. So both his campaign and his legal team are and need to be focused on that Supreme Court arguments next week.
Garrett Haake and Catherine Christian, thank you so much. And a programming note, tonight E. Jean Carroll joins Rachel Maddow live to discuss the verdict in Trump's defamation trial. Watch the Rachel Maddow show tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, only on MSNBC.